Welcome to a brand new session about Power BI. Today we are going to learn about Power BI dashboards. So what are dashboards? Before we head over it, I just want to give you a brief that I have built. I have downloaded a sample PBIX file which is consisting of the visualization and the dataset, its relationship. It has been supplied to us by Obviance, the science of making things possible company, and it's their IP and it's permitting us to use it as for the explanatory purpose. Moving on. So, Power BI dashboards are single screen which can hold visualizations from multiple reports. So, you can imagine yourself saying, you've built lots of visualization pages using Power BI desktop and they are in multiple PBIX files. And based on the data sets, you've built multiple reports and you've published those reports onto the web. That's the Power BI service. Now, from these published set, if you want to collate certain visualization from different reports, you can do so and present one single page of a dashboard to your management, which they can click and go into the respective reports. So it's more kind of an index, and if it's a textbook, you can think about it as an index file. On clicking on the link, it takes you to the reports part of it. So, what are dashboards? Dashboards are probably the aggregated values or aggregated visualization appearing in single screen. So, the hierarchy of dashboards would be first you import the data, then you build reports on top of the data, you publish those reports, and from those reports, you then pin certain visualization on the dashboards. So, pinning is an action what you do to make your dashboards. Let's have a look. So for in front of me, I have a Power BI screen page which is developed by Obviance and it's built in this fashion saying individual people and their scorecard of what how have they fared. And if I don't select anything, how have everybody fared in terms of revenue versus the target. This is how they have gone ahead with it. As per the region, as per all four of them, they handle different region. Let's see Valerie. She is primarily focusing in the north and bits and pieces in the other region. If I say Tina, then she's preferring north again. If I say Carlos, he's also from the north. If I say Annelie, then she is focusing on east, and Andrew is focusing equally on east, south, and north. This is revenue versus variance to the budget. So if you have a look at it, this is the revenue variance compared to the previous month. In this case, he's done quite well. The budget was 2.7 and he's done 10% over it in April. And this is how the team scorecard looks like and the region breakup. If we have to drill it down to based on the industry margins, we can say what all industries are people covering. This can also be useful. See, that industry has been handled by Andrew. If I remove the checkbox from here and I say oil and gas, all the visualization throughout the pages would appear in that fashion. There we are. Okay. Now, with this, I would like to publish. Let's see how is the data set looking like. So the data set, let me zoom in a bit. Okay, let me close all the fields. It looks something of this side. There is a fact table which is different individual units which makes a product table. It customer can belong to a state. It has one to many relationships, so every state can have more customers, every industry can have more than one customer. A customer can be part of multiple product lists. The dates and the date dimension has dates in different forms such as month, period, quarter, year. Scenario is a unique key for them, product is another key for them. So overall this is more like a customer behavior sample which we are having a look at. There are so many tables. Let's have a look at these as well. These are different tables which are available, one fact and rest of the dimensions of it. Basis that we've built this sheet. Let's publish this. Saving my changes, and it would ask me where do I want to publish it. I would like to publish it in the my sheet because I don't want everybody to have a look at it. This is one of the visual report what I have been publishing. Let it publish. Yes, it is published. Let's have a look at how does this publishing happen and what does it do. Now, slowly at this point, things will move from Power BI desktop to Power BI service. A critical point, a very simple and an easy point which we want to understand and learn. Let the page load. Yes, there we are. It goes into my workspace. It shows what I have built. Basis this, understand what if I want to show the gap, show this revenue field. So if you look at this pin icon, we have an option to pin this visual. And we can say this is dashboard sample. All right, this is a new thing what I'm making. Now pin that visual. That visual is complete. Now if I go to the dashboard, this is what I would see. This is what I would see. I can ask a question saying top country by regions. They would say US because entire thing is from the US. If I want to exit the Q&A, I can say top states of the US. So it says Illinois is the biggest state. And these are the basic Q&A enabled. This is the new Q&A section. If you want to proceed to the old Q&A section, you would have to write those queries on your own. If you want to experience the new QA section, then you would have to move the switch to the right. Let's exit this Q&A section. So this is one of the dashboard. This is the web view of it. Let's move to the phone view of it. Let's continue with the phone view. If you feel this is not up to the mark, you can move it from one place to another. Presently, as the visualization move is read from top to bottom over the phone and the scroller is from top to bottom, all these visualization are part of it. If you don't want that visualization to appear on your phone view, you can unpin it in your phone view. However, it would keep displaying in your web view. So this is kind of intricacies what you would learn while making a dashboard. So let's see, if I want to pin this, it appears over here. But you cannot change the location because it's been read from top to bottom. You can obviously resize it as per your need and clarity of understanding, which is possible in both. You can always reset the tiles so that it appears in the old fashion. Remember, once you publish your Power BI desktop file, all the play moves from the Power BI desktop onto Power BI service. app.powerbi.com is the service which Microsoft says a Power BI service which helps you look at the dashboard, create the dashboard, publish the dashboard. Let's have a look at one more sample which I have it for you today. And let's see human resource sample. This is another sample file which I have again downloaded from Obviance. We'll have to, as since it is a proprietary product and has been given to us for learning and educational needs, it's customary for us to display the first screen and have a read of it. Obvious is an ISV, an intellectual property incubator of Microsoft Business Intelligence, work closely with Microsoft to develop the best practices and thought leadership. So this also would help us understand what are the best practices available, right? Moving on, what kind of visualization these pages have for this report? So for new hires, it checks new hire supply versus new hire. So these many are demanded and this is the supply, right? So it's more kind of demand and supply kind of a new hires going on. Let's see what is the full-time and the part-time flow, right? So there are 701 part-time hired, 73 full-time hired on an average around 70 to 80, and this is moving up. Almost 52% are males and 47 are females, almost 50-50 ratio. This thing allows you to drill down further So you would be able to view it, yeah, step by step. So there is one level drill down which is available. Yeah, if I want to click this, it goes on to this. If I want to click this, so there are two levels in this visualization. If you look at it, see this 1 and 2. This is what it is. Great. Now let's see what are active and separations. So these many actives, these many separations, kind of a dashboard. Let's see, this is separation versus separation supply. This is always following, steps are following the separation supply. Again, this is a scattered well third-party tool which they have enabled the chart. If you look at it, this is the chart, waterfall chart, which is available, which they have made use of, saying from the north, if you add this, if you add this is a total value. This usually is done on region-wise income or additions on a particular column. Separation involuntary and voluntary. So mostly this thing looks good. This thing is because of their performance, and therefore this is a complete picture of male, female and age group related breakup. Who are the bad hires? People who were hired but were not qualified enough to continue. So 53% again, 46% again by ethnicity. These are what group A, B, C, D as per Northeast West region. Again, this is a good thing to understand over here is legend is ethnicity. So it shows group A, group B, group C, all that. Bad hires is a value, number of bad hires as per group. So this is how things are, right? New hire scorecard. This is how it looks like, the scorecard. You can always resize the page and you get such pages. That's okay. If you go here, page size is the place where you can change your page size. I can increase the page size. See, it's getting wider. I can reduce the page size. So based on what it is. And I can click on publish again. So I say save my changes because I've made certain pixel changes. Any change from the existing file will ask for a change. Again, I'll go to my demo dashboard workspace where it would publish it. Once it is published, I can click on the link available on this screen or go there. Good part about such dashboard samples is we get to learn about what are the best practices and how are the relationships built. So here we are. We can click on open or we can click on times Nishant. And I see this is where the another sample has come up. This I can do it later. View the data set. This is how my fields are. It's still loading. Let's go here, click on this sample file to enable its working. This link will enable that file without a worry. All the pages are deployed and that's great. Let's do one thing. Let's say I want to pin this visualization. Also remember, these filters are not pinned. So dashboard do not have filters. That's a bottom line while doing, and this is learned by all the developers over a period of time. Only the visualization is pinned on the dashboard, not the filters. Please be aware about this. Now let me go into dashboard sample and I say pin. Edit the phone view. So I already have an earlier dashboard in which I want to pin this dashboard. Now I can move it up, I can move it down. It's based on what I want to do. But a good thing is a completely different altogether reports are merged into one dashboard. So dashboard is kind of an aggregated MIS value which you want your top guys or top management to have a look at it on their fingertips. Let's have a look at few more of the PBIX files which would help us understand couple of things. One is the way in which the visualization have been placed and how can they be moved into a dashboard. So the key aspect over here is what visuals are best fit for dashboards. That file load, and it's loading. Yes, there it is. The first page by default would be the Obvious page. It has been provided to us by Obvious. Let's see what about these. This is more like a spend analysis sheet wherein we are trying to identify how the spends have been like. So plan percentage. So these are the different kinds of spends we've planned it. We've tried to increase it in Europe and USA, but try to reduce it based on the data available. In IT area, what is actual versus plan? So this was a budgeted, and again, the idea is we need to see the blue bars always be shorter or equal to the black bars. In terms of infrastructure, it has been different. So a key aspect over here is identify why this has been an increase. How is the plan percentage by month? So we plan to increase the spend towards the end of the year and beginning very humbly in the January. This is the kind of spend we've planned. What are the places we are trying to spend? So if you consider this in an IT spend, we are trying to spend these, and for miscellaneous ones we are not in green. That means probably we have spent a little bit more than what was planned, and that is 14.39 and 14.54. For rest of the things, the plan is always higher than the actual. That means it is within limits. So that's how the statuses are planned. If we have a look at the status elements, let's have a look at it. What have they kept? 1, 2, 3 and actuals. So this is the department. It's already there. And VP. Okay. This is the level. This is the status. So this is a fact table. If you try to look at the fact table, it will tell you how have they derived upon this actual versus plan. If you click on it, this is actual versus plan status, right? Is there anything else? No. Is there anything else? No. Is there anything else? No. So if you click on this is how the actuals are being calculated. Great. This is some different thing which we are learning. Let's have a look at it. Relationship. Let me expand it further. So today the primary focus of us is on different kinds and ways the dashboards have been built. So you would see a central table which has more like everything what a person needs is a fact table, and it's more like an aggregation or a central repository of data flowing from different tables. So you would see date flowing in from date dimension, cost elements coming from cost dimension, country and IT area coming from its own masters, department and VP coming as a master, business areas coming as a master, scenario coming as a master. So it's more like an individual areas, and these fact tables are more kind of a transaction tables which makes use of all the data around it to make sense on the transactions. Then amount by month scenario. So LE1, LE2, LE3 are different plans, and this is the actuals. So as per the plan, how have they fed? How have the cost elements moved? What is the variance like? Is it reduced or increased? So infrastructure has increased, rest all has reduced. Plan variance analysis means budgeted versus actuals. You can have the analysis such as this, wherein you have a bar chart with negative values. That means you are doing well in terms of cost, whereas the positive values shows that you are high on your infrastructure spend from May till October. So you can highlight this. Then you can have this data as per the countries, as in how have you spent across the countries. So there is minuscule spend in Central Europe, whereas On the key countries, it's a significant higher spend, whereas France, Brazil, Italy, the spends have reduced. This is how things are. You can also check by area. So this is a different kind of visualization which you can make use of. So these are the filters. Remember, they cannot be placed on the dashboards. Let's publish this as well, and then we'll see what data can be moved. Let it load. These things can continue as they are. Let's move on. Let's click on publish. Let me save the changes. It is publishing now. Once the publish completes, we'll get the link on this screen to move on to the website. Website is known as Power BI service. There we are. It asks me for the workspace. I selected one of the sample workspace which I am working on. Let it move ahead. It's publishing. So based on the data what you have, it takes proportionate time to upload and also for the bandwidth. So we'll have to understand the timings vary from file to file. Still loading. Yes, it's complete. Let's go back to that. It will exactly take me to that same page. Loading, loading, loading. It's very important for this step to get over, because if not done correctly, it would not appear perfectly fine if you directly access the Power BI service. Still loading. Okay, let's do this. IT spend analysis. If I check this, so this is the third file which I have kept it on download or publish. It's available, and let's click on it. It's loading. Yes, it's loaded exactly. This is a very interesting visual wherein you can actually play the growth. How has the things been over the period of 8 to 12 months? So how did the outlier reach the outlier step? Very, very important. Now, out of this, let's move this sample as our dashboard. Yeah, existing dashboard, IT area. Let's see in the phone view, where do we want to keep it? It appears on the side. Let's move it below it. This is not what I need. I don't want this. Let's move back. Let's move back. I don't want that. I want to pin this. Exactly. And let's pin this down in the IT. However, this I can remove it later. Let's go back to the web view and I can unpin it. I can say delete tile. Go to the phone view and that file is anyways deleted. Now in the web view, we can have an option to scale it as per what we need, like this. We can resize it. We can ask questions and let it be in the modern view and maximum bad higher. For example, it would identify the data and it would tell you what is the maximum bed higher. This is how it will take you to the dashboard. Have a look at this. I went into a dashboard, which is a dashboard sample, which is built by us. If I want more data about this visualization, I can just click on it. It takes me to that report PBIX file. So a very interesting way in understanding this concept. And then you have the filters basis which you can view the data. A good idea again. So this is all about dashboards. One more interesting thing after this is content pack. So let's say we want now to move this data into a content pack, right? So let's say create a content pack, and it should be available probably to only one person. Let's say, all right, some, let's say I write it for myself. All right, sample for consumption, and I would like to pass on the dashboard sample and its data set. So everything from the dashboard to the reports and data sets are to be published. And if I say it should be available only to this person, then it is available to this. Let's say publish. So there is some issue with this. Basically, you would have to be part of an admin section who is allowed to publish files. In this place, we are not, so we'll hold it over here. But this is how you would have to introduce. What are apps? You can have these apps as well. So this is one section of it. And let's go back to sample and let's see phone view of this. This is how your report would appear under Power BI. If for this to work, you would have to first download the Power BI app. It can be an iOS or an Android app. Log in with your organizational credentials. It's your email ID and your password. Once you are in, you can check these sections. It can be shared with me if you are not the creator but a consumer, or workplaces if you are making those files, PBX files, and publishing them by yourself. If you click on it, you get such options, and then on clicking on the subsequent links, you can arrive at the report and the dashboards. With this, dashboards are relatively a compilation of various visualization, and basis this you can build a content pack. Content pack holds various dashboards as selected, and it can be accessed by a particular individuals or everybody in the organization. It only needs to We need to aware about the fact that content packs can only be edited by the creator, in this case by me had I been able to publish it, and content packs can be replicated by the others for whom this data has been shared with, so they can churn their own reports. And this is how the data flow happens from the developer or the business user to the end user, and it is more like a do as you want based on the data given to you concept. Today we saw what are content packs. Content packs are aggregation of dashboards which include dashboard, report, and dataset. It can be built by you and shared within the teams for their immediate consumption, also alteration for their local alteration, and then further sharing based on their rights. It can be shared by anyone in the organization having a Power BI Pro license and who has built a dashboard. Point number one, it can be edited by owners only. Although many people would have access to your content pack, they must have replicated it, but they can't make any change to your content pack since you are the creator. It can be consumed by n number of users based on the group access what you've given, or individual access what you've given. At the same time, they can replicate, that is copy that, and make further changes and further distribute the content. So this is all about the content packs. Moving on, there is something known as apps. So Power BI apps are the solution to enterprise scale distribution of content in Power BI. Like we saw, there are sections which allows you to mix different reports and build a dashboard which can be consumed by anybody who has access to the dashboard. Very simple. At the same time, if you want to distinguish between different sets of data, isolate that data and distribute to only the intended user, one way of doing it is creating apps specific to that report, and then only people having access to this link would be able to access the related isolated content. It is also the collection of purpose-built dashboards or reports to large number of business users and empower them to make decisions. So it can be one or more than one reports on dashboards which then can be converted into apps. It can be distributed to specific people or groups similar to the content packs. So now let's have a look at the steps of creating an app. And the basic steps are: we create an app workspace. The workspace is a staging area for an app and served as a container for the content of the app. That means after creating an app workspace, you need to put your dashboard, datasets, and reports into that content pack or the app space rather, and only then you would be able to publish that particular content and distribute it to the end users. Then you add content and then you publish it to the end user. Let's have a look at all the three steps. I've just now clicked on create a workspace and built a test app workspace. After clicking on it, I go into this screen. I say get the file. So it allows me to import different kinds of file. Since we know we have a PBIX file samples which we have downloaded for our consumption, let's access it. So let's access opportunity analysis as one of the PBIX file and say open. It would import it into that particular app space. Yes, so that is the data. If you look at it, it is available under the test app. So let's go back to the test app. It would be under the report section. If I make a dashboard, then only it would move to the dashboard section, right? Let's create a dashboard for it, for the matter. Let's go into the revenue analysis and let's say I want to pin this to the test app dashboard, right? I go to the dashboard. It is available over here. I go into test app. Now the dashboard sections has one value. Fine. Now let's see, do you want to get this included in your app? Yes and no. If there are multiple dashboards, you want certain things not to be part of your app, you can move it to no. In this case, I want it to be part of the app, so I make it this. If you want to favoritize this test app, then you can click on the star icon. I've marked it as favorite. For this simplicity set, I don't want to mark it as my favorite. Then you need to move to create app. Create app will ask for a name of the app. Okay, you will say it is a test app, right? Support site, if you have anything to log their tickets, you can have those sites. It can be ticketing tool which your organization use, and you can give that access so that if something fails, that link URL is shown. Navigation, how do you want? This is the link where people would click on the dashboard. Do you want to go into certain navigation steps? You can do that, right? This is the opportunity section. That's okay. Control, all these controls: view and edit database model definition, connect to the database, right? Connect database for this. Exporting is always blocked for users installing the app, so they can view it but they cannot export it. Any parameters which you want to put, then you can put it over here. Accesses, you want to pass this access to specific people only, and you do it to one person and you say create app. Now it is publishing an app, and this is the link of your app. I say copy, I say closed, and I go here and I move it over here. When I click on it, it would redirect me to that screen of the app. App may contain, I say install that app. So what it is doing is it is installing the app for me, and there is my app. First app. Hello world. It's my test app. Let's wait this installation to get over. Yes. So I can edit the workspace, explore the app. So this is my app space. So app would ideally be looking like this. And this has exactly only those items what I have made it to be the part of. So this screen by default is what I have moved, and it has so many visuals and pages. So these are the pages available, which makes it an app. It can be accessed over phone. You can always have screen, and that's about it. If you want to remove an app, you can go into update, and you do have option to permission, and you can remove the names, right? You can allow users to make copy of the reports if you want. You can allow users to connect to apps underlying data sets using the build permission, yes or no. Install this app, you can allow them to install this app. You can, this is the link to the files, this is the link to the reports. So basically this is all about link, and you say update. Once done, it is present. You can always delete certain things from your app. So what you can do is opportunity analysis. I don't want it, I say delete. I go into report, I say I don't want it, I can delete. Workbook, nothing. Data set, opportunity analysis, I don't want it, I say delete. It is still on publishing. Okay, we'll have to wait for it to happen. I say delete. So all these things are deleted, only the data set is now yet to be deleted. Let's say delete. Data flow is not present. Once you delete everything, you can do update app, right? Basis that the updated data would move. So this allows the developer to publish the required data in single place and allows them to have a look at the apps. So this is all about apps. Moving on. Roles and restrictions. So what are roles and restrictions? They are basically ways to give specific access to the end user by accessing Power BI's role level security. User can view only the data based on the roles they have been part of. And user views no data if no role has been assigned to the user, but they have just been shared the dashboard. A typical case, a typical forum question which many Power BI naive users come across when they play around with roles. So you need to ensure a couple of things. When you give roles, ensure all the users accessing that data set have been given roles. After that only you would share the access to the database or the Power BI reports or dashboards. So the roles need to be assigned first. After that, post that, you would be giving access to the dashboards and reports. Point number one. If no roles have been assigned to the end user to whom you would be sharing the Power BI reports or the dashboard, then system would not grant them view access of the report pages, and user would more likely or most likely would be viewing errors on the reports pages. Let's have a look of how to give roles and how to publish that. Let's have a look at it. Yes. So I am on IT spend analysis sample. I would first go into the table screen like here, and I would find this section, manage roles, as we've seen earlier in the diagram. I say I want to give access to a person only to the Europe data. So let's say I say country as region, I say add a filter and mark it as sales region and make it as Europe, ROPE, right? I say save. Most important, please click on save, otherwise things don't get added up. So when you click on it, there is one Europe role. Let's create a Canada role, CANADA. Let's split that and say sales region is CANADA, right? And then let's create a role of everything. Create everything. Basically, this means you're not giving any filters in this, just creating a role and keeping it. So there are three roles: Europe, Canada, and everything. Now let's view the data based on Canada. You would see only the Canada region data coming over here. If you go to this place, you would see only the Canada related spends. Now if I say view data as everything, you would see many things changing. See this? So basis this, you can always test, do trial and error before you would actually publish this and go live. What is other user? So if there is some other user you want to make use of, nishan.vyas, I would be seeing all of this. So you can make use of this. And what if you are not part of any of the roles? What would you see? This is what you see if you're not part of any of the roles. A good scenario would be make yourself available to one of the roles, right? Yeah, there we are. So this is how the roles are defined. Roles are used to filter the content which you want end user to view. After deciding on the roles in the Power BI desktop, you need to pass this PBIX file onto the Power BI service. How do we do it? We do it by clicking on publish. Again, it would publish the entire file in the mentioned space. It's still loading. Let it load. It has to publish first. It's still going on. Where do I want to publish? I want to publish in the sample dashboard where it was earlier placed. It would replace the earlier file. So this is how you keep on updating the files. So this is the latest. You already have a file over here. Do you want to replace it? Yes, I want to replace it. Yes, it has been replaced. Let's go back. Now, a very interesting fact over here is once you have this thing in place, you go into the dashboard. You can say reports. I say I want to spend this. I say share access. I do have manage permissions. That's there. Move ahead. I go into the report. I say settings, dataset, IT spend, security. Please remember how to reach this. So these are the three roles what you've built. So this is one place you need to assign role to a person, and then you need to pass it on. So I can use my name nisha.vyas1. I say add, I say save, and now I go here and let's see what happens. I go in times nishant, I say reports, I say IT spend. What do I see? I do see everything. Why? Because by default I am the admin and these rules don't apply to me. Workspace, my name, dataset, IT spend, security. I have Canada as under me. Europe shouldn't be part of it. Let's say again I go here, I go here, I go here. Let me see, is there anything based on it? No. So more important, these are the nitty-gritties of the roles is if you're an admin, no matter what role you belong to, you would get access to everything. Whereas If I add another person, then only the limited restricted data would be given access to the user. So today we saw a couple of things. One is within the report, you can limit the access given to the end users based on the roles. Furthermore, if you have silos of different reports and you don't want people to access it, then you can build those custom apps and give it to them. That's the second method of doing it, to view the content. You can also make content pack if your organization allows you to build it and pass those content packs to the end users for their consumption, sharing, and further reuse. Fourth way of doing it is if you want aggregated value of different reports to be displayed under one screen, so you can collate all the relative contents and place it in the dashboard. So dashboard is a uniting factor of the reports. Apps is a divisive factor of the reports if need be. It can be made into groups of apps, and content packs are built basis dashboards, and it can have host more than one dashboard along with its data sets and reports. So a little nitty gritty of this is more or less important to know and remember while designing these dashboards. Let's go back in today's session. So today we studied what are dashboards, how do we build content packs, what are apps, and how do we define the roles and the restrictions for the data shared to with end user. Let's take one complete example and try to do all of this. However, content packs are not permitted in my organization, so therefore we wouldn't be able to demo it. Whereas the apps, roles, and restrictions, we take it further. Let's have a look at it. Let's say we start with one of the sample report, procurement analysis report, right? Then let's publish it along with the roles and restrictions. Okay. So this is something, again, this has been provided to us by Obviance, and with their help, we have a ready dashboard in front, a report page in front of us. So these are the different kinds of procurement an organization is doing. It has these categories of direct invoices, indirect invoices, and logistics taken care for this procurement. So most of their monies are going into hardware and indirect goods and services, and then there are basic contracting, logistics, raw material, part and parcel of this. What are the invoice types? What it is? Most tier one is $188 million, and then it falls to 20, less than 20. So it kind of an 80-20 rule. Tier one are the ones you would have to focus on. Let's see what is the report looking like. If we enable the drop down, drill down, we'll see United States. If I click on it, there's nothing much over there. Okay, fine. So it's only United States, right? What is the discount analysis what we have in front of us? So in January, approximately 18 million was sold, and the discount was around 4% given to the user. In February, the discount was again 4. In March, it has reduced, and so on. So the discount percentage is being in terms of 4 to 5%, 3, almost 4 to 5%. What is the savings month on month? So based on discount, it maximum savings occurred in the month of January, fell the lowest in April, and then again risen and has been maintained at $300,000. Okay. What are the top cities? Chicago has the king share of this, and then followed by St. Louis and Miami, and then the Mexico City and Atlanta. All right. So basis this, let's see what are their table structure looking like. So you have an vendor, you have a date dim, you have location, invoice, which is a combination of vendor, rate, this. Then for that invoice, there can be a line item. That line item can be built using an item If there is an exchange done, then exchange rate and the currency. So hierarchical structure of data, and these are the fact tables, invoices and invoice line item consuming rest of the details. Let's decide on a kind of a, let's have a look at the location first, right? Let's see what data do they have. They have data from USA and Mexico, right? Everything is from North America. Let's see what cities do they have. That's okay. Currencies, there are two kinds of currencies part of it. So, and what kind of vendor? So let's group them to vendor state, right? Probably Washington, WA, and then probably California, so WA, CA, and others. Let's see that. So if I have to build this, what I'll do is in models, I'll go into manage roles. I'll create a role saying Washington, right? I know where that thing is appearing from. So I say add a filter on vendor state and I say WA. So this is one what I've saved. Again, I'll say manage roles. I'll say create a role which says California, and then I'll move on to the vendor. So you can make use of more than one filters. I am filtering only on one table. You can have a combination of these tables to be filtered basis one role. I say vendor state as CA, and then for my simplicity's sake I say everything. So if nothing is there, there is something, which is what is everything. So if you look at it, when I move, by default there are 51 rows. If I say California, 281 rows, sorry. If I move it as none, it has 281 rows again, 2121 rows. If I say Washington, let's say how many rows? 19 rows. So this is how it is bifurcated. And if I say everything, that's same as none. This and this are equivalent, but none is not reflected in our Power BI service. So I say it shows everything as 2121 rows. Now I want to see what this user views, just to replicate how it works. He sees everything because that's my name and I'm the admin. So multiple ways of checking the roles while making them is here. Now basis this, let's publish it and go ahead. Right now publish option is under home and publish. Yes, please save my changes. Okay, I've been signed out. Let me log in. Great, it's still loading. Again, it's based on the bandwidth. It would give me a pop-up asking for my password. It should ask me for my password. Still loading. Still loading, still loading. So now I have logged in into the machine in the Power BI service, because this is required for you to deploy anything in the service. I'm selecting a workspace where I want to publish this PBIX file. It is again, as always, trying to publish it into the PBIX file. PBIX file into the Power BI cloud, beg your pardon. Let it finish the movement of data. This is completely proportional to the data set what we are trying to forward it to the Power BI service. Once done, it would throw up a link on the pop-up which we would take it ahead. And all right, so this is one piece of it. Let's go and see everything is present, yes or no. Yes, it is present. Do you want to drill this down further? We can do drill down over here. Basis that if you click on one, it would drill down. If you click on that, it would again drill down. So there are three levels present over here. If you want to drill up, you can do it from here. Yeah, and you can view everything together like this, or you can do one step at a time. Great. So these are the four options available in this fashion. Now, let's say this is a very interesting piece which I want to pin it. I want to pin it to an existing dashboard which we've already built. So this is the dashboard piece. It has been published. Now, by default, phone view doesn't throw up. So you would have to basically first pin it and then drag it. Where do you want to keep this? So this is where they are. This is the name of the sample dashboard sample, because of which it is named in this way. Phone view, let's switch to the web view. Now in the web view, I want to move this further to the top. I can do so. Now this is too huge. Let me resize it next to each other. For time being here. Perfect. Great. It's still less. All right. If this is a tricky situation, a skillful hand would be able to take it further. There we are. Everything organized as one screen. Invoice by city. If I click on it, what is the invoice by city? Let's say discount. Or let's say city by. So it's a skill basically to get the content in a particular order. There are by default certain suggestions which are appearing over here, which we can make use of. Count of a genders. Two. If I these are simple ones. Gender by discount. Let's say gender by age. So these are the average age. This is the gender. So this is how you can basically query the data set to get different visualization, and Power BI's AI would give you an appropriate image. So the dashboards are seen, roles and restrictions have been seen. Now let's create an app probably. So let's create an app workspace. Create a workspace or create an app space is something what would be displayed to you in this yellow button. You need to click on workspace, click on add a workspace, just say test NV. I'm writing NV and I say save. Now what I do is I discover content which is available in my organization, amongst which, so this will not throw my data. Let's say files, right? OneDrive, SharePoint, Learn. So which file was it? It was my procurement file which I want to do the data on. So this is completely different parallel. We've seen dashboard, roles, restrictions available to the end user. If you want your own PBIX file or more than one PBIX file to be part of an app, which you can distribute it individually to certain set of user, basically creating a silo, then you should go for creating a workspace. In that workspace, you should add that file or more than one files. From that, you reach over here, you click on it, it takes you to that space, right? Perfect. Now, let's say test NV. This is available. Do you want to be, if you have more files, you can add it over here. You can say, I want to publish an app, say testing, any support site if there is, and if any app color you are probably your favorite color. If you have a logo, you can give a logo as well, right? Then you say publish the app. So it will move all the content, and this is the link. Please be aware, this is the link you need to circulate with the people, basis which they would be able to view the data. If you have certain permissions, then you can decide that permissions over here and add it and update it, and then share the link. So basically this is what you need. And when you say update, and I've copied that link, and now what I'll do is I'll click on that link. It takes me to that screen. It asks me to add an app. So it installs the app automatically based on my previous preference, and it is available for my consumption. This is the app all about. That's about it, guys, today. I hope you had a great learning time with this, and it's a fun tool. You would be doing all of this as and when as you proceed, but it's good to know these are the multiple ways in which you should move ahead while making your decisions, as in dashboards, reports, data sets, apps, and content packs. Thank you so much for listening in.